Hey everyone, it is February 2nd and welcome to Exodus. I know we already started Exodus yesterday, but I didn't get to welcome you to Exodus. And this is such a thrilling time in history, and there's so many lessons to be learned and to be applied to our life far, far removed from this period of history. But I certainly learn a lot every time I read God's encounter with Moses, just building to his leadership, watching him learn to stand on his own legs as a leader, the compassion of Christ, of God, allowing him to co-lead with Aaron until he gets secure in his own way. There's just, and Miriam went with them. It's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful and memorable time, but still applicable, lessons that are applicable to us. And as I was reading and preparing for today's lesson, what caught me was just right under February 2nd, page 129, it says Moses returns to Egypt. And honestly, that just it just jolted me, because I thought, wow, Egypt has been in his rear view mirror for 40 years, far removed from the murder of the Egyptian soldier, far removed from the halls of the palace, the fine dining, the education he received, his mother, his people, everything has been far removed. 40 years later, it's like that's so far away. I assume he thought, because I'm never going back there. That's a part of my life, a chapter of my life that's closed. You know that saying of, oh, our life is a book and this season is just a chapter. You don't have to go back to that chapter. This is a new chapter. You made it through that. And so now we have that whole scenario of how to make a terrible time in your life positive, to reflect positively. I'm going to close that, or that's just a volume in my life. I'm going to put that book on the shelf and we're starting a new one. That mindset. But you know what? For Moses, that part of his life, that door to his life was not closed. God had just pressed pause, because he was making him go back to Egypt. Now, I don't know what your circumstances in life are, but I would be willing to wager that everyone has had some type of Egypt in their life. Some type of a place, a circumstance, a work situation, a relationship, a church hurt, something to that sort, where that's your Egypt, and you've moved on. You've spent some time in Midian, and you've healed. You've learned to trust God. You've experienced God. Think of all that Moses experienced while he was in Midian, and the transformation in his life while he was there. I mean, he was running in fear, and now he's a leader, a shepherd. He's met his wife, his family, his father-in-law. He has great relationship with his father-in-law, and he's had this experience with God, and though he is still shaky, very much shaky, at the end of chapter 4, he and Aaron take off to go. But I'm taken aback by the fact that it just hit me. Oh my, he's having to go back to his Egypt. Have you ever had to go back? And it maybe even wasn't that God instructed you to go back, but circumstances dictated that you went back to a place that was at once harmful to you, or you have painful memories there from that situation, and there's uncertainty there. You're going to see people you don't want to see because it was a painful period of your life, or they were the ones that hurt you. But for whatever reason, you have to go back. You might not have to stay there. Now, Moses, he had an assignment. But I think it's important that we understand that obedience doesn't mean smooth sailing. Sometimes it's obedience will, through our obedience, hard times will come again. Painful situations will arise. But with obedience, we have that confidence that God is with us and we are secure in him. So I've included some Bible verses there for you about the fact that God is with you. I love, you hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. That is one of my favorite verses from Psalm 139. And I remind the Lord of that when I'm going back to places that were painful. Seeing people, there are people that represent my Egypt. There are people that represent pain. And I'm having to come in contact with them again. And I don't want to do that. But I'm directed to, or circumstances dictate that. And so to know, and I say out, Lord, you're with me, you're behind me, you're before me, you've hemmed me in. That's your that's your promise. That's your spoken word over me. And I'm going to call you out to that word today. But I want us just to remember moving forward, whether we're about to go into our Egypt or tuck this away for later. Maybe you're back in your Egypt right now, is that the lessons you learn in Midian will also help you in your Egypt. The things that Moses learned in Midian will help him when he returns to Egypt. The same God who was with you in Midian will be with you in Egypt. And the power that strengthened you and girded you up and helped you build a confident faith in Midian, that same power will be with you in Egypt. And don't let the enemy tell you anything else. I included a song today called Same God, and it may be something that you've heard before, but I encourage you to listen to that today. It's overwhelming to think that that we have the opportunity and the privilege to worship the same God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, David, Miriam, Esther, all of the people that we'll read about. That same God, we worship that same God. That same God that was with them, is with us. Worship him today. And remember, your Midian, the lessons in Midian are going to help you when you have to return to Egypt or see Egyptians in your forward view window. Take care. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.